Cottage Craftworks, and today we want to talk about repairing a White Mountain motor. So we picked up this old unit at an antique store just to tear apart and demonstrate and kind of understand how this machine works. This motor here was basically froze up on the bottom gear, which means that the motor probably just burned out. So the motor's not working. And what we had to do is take this, push this gear out and clean it up. Some old paint had got in around it and bound it up. And I think that's why this motor quit working. A lot of people will ask us, you know, how do I determine, do I repair or do I buy new? Because we do have several options. We have a total brand new oakware replacement motor that you can use on your White Mountain. And then we have the Emmergood motor, which will also fit your 4 and 6 quart White Mountains. It's USA made stainless steel. And one of the benefits of stainless steel, as you can see on the old motors, if they chipped, then the salt water starts working in underneath and keeps popping that paint off. Now you could clean this up and repaint it if you felt that was worth doing. So this motor here, somebody had already taken it apart because the bottom is loose. But basically you will need a 11/32 wrench. The cap pulls off and that exposes the motor. Now there is 3 bolts here that are missing, so those would need to be removed. I'm not quite sure if they were hex head or if they were Phillips screwdriver, but those 3 bolts would have to be removed, and then this bottom part comes off. So in that you have your rod and pinion gear that fits in, and if we look, this motor is in very good shape. It doesn't have shavings. Everything is basically functional since I cleaned that center one out. And then you have the gear that's in the bottom of the gear housing. Now we sell the gear housing with that gear in it, and there's some reasons because of that. Is that'll come pre-greased, and if you notice, this has a very thick, heavy grease in it. Something that you're not going to be able to find in a food grade replacement grease. You can find NSF grade 2 grease at your hardware stores like Ace Hardware's, where we got this, and they recommend this like for KitchenAid mixers and other food equipment. But if you notice, this grease is nowhere the consistency of the grease that's in here. So I will try to salvage as much grease as I can, but the problem is, if we take this gear out, I'll show you. White Mountain did not use any kind of a seal. They depended on this heavy-duty grease from keeping it from running out down the bottom, down your dasher stem, and into your ice cream. I don't quite understand the wisdom of that, but that's how that is. The dasher stays stationary and the can spun around the dasher. A lot of people didn't realize that until the clear lids came into use and they could actually look down and see that their dasher was not spinning. So we would get a lot of calls saying that there's something wrong with my motor. Well, White Mountain never designed this as a triple action motor. A triple action motor would work the same as the hand crank motor. If you can see inside, the inner gear is turning as the outer gear is turning in the opposite direction. So that's basically taking your dasher, spinning the can around while the inner dasher is turning. On the bottom of the can, the inner dasher is turning, and that's where you would get triple action on a hand crank. Now, Emmergood has developed their motor so that it is a triple action. When that motor is running, that is working just like a hand crank frame. The inside dasher is turning in one direction, and this is turning the can in the opposite direction. So these gears are all in pretty good shape. So I basically can put this back together, and we'll focus on the motor and the gear. So the gear frame has a gear that's fastened into it. It's riveted in, so it's not going to come out, and we do not sell that as a separate gear. We sell it with the gear frame complete. So when you buy the gear frame, you'd be getting that gear without the motor. Now the motor in this is fastened with two 11/32 nuts right here, and there's one kind of hidden under the grease. Those would come out. Your new replacement motor would go in and replace that. So we get a lot of questions, okay, is it worth repairing or replacing? So the answer to that is that if you need one item, you're looking at about basically the half the cost of a new this motor here. This motor here is twice the cost of this motor, but you get the better quality. These are still coming out of China, and we don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. So all this may equal out in the end, but right now in comparison, if you need to buy two parts, such as the rod and pinion gear and the motor, then you might as well look at replacing the motor, because you get an all brand new motor. So even if you replace the rod and pinion gear, you don't know how good your motor is, and if you replace the motor, you can look in there and see how good everything is. And in this case, it may be just worth repainting the outside and replace the motor, and we'd be fine. So that's kind of how we suggest you go about deciding what to do. But this gives you the basic rundown of the replacement parts and the options that you have. Thank you for watching. Check our other items with Cottage Craftworks. We have all these White Mountain parts on our website.